Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Some of you guys may already know me, some of you guys may not. If you don't, my name is Leah and I make football-based content specifically about my favorite football club, FC Barcelona, on my TikTok page. Now, my TikTok page is simply my name, liabinkin, spelled Liabinkin. So be sure to go check that out after this video. But yes, I finally decided to make a YouTube channel, and on this channel, I will be specifically talking about FC Barcelona and everything in regards to that, but I will also talk about other stuff going around in football in general as well. So be sure to subscribe to the channel right now before I continue on with the video. Now in this video, I will specifically be talking about Barcelona and how they're doing now. I will talk a little bit about how they played against Napoli away in the first leg of the round of 16 of the Champions League, and I will also talk about how they performed today against Getafe. So let's get into it. Now let's talk about how Barcelona played against Napoli. Obviously, I'm not happy that the result ended 1-1, considering how well Barcelona did up until like the 60th minute, and it was their own mistake that caused Napoli to score a goal, which I am very disappointed in. But at the same time, I am looking into the second leg with more optimism, considering that it is going to be a home match for Barca. Now, what I liked watching from Barcelona against Napoli was the way they started with such high intensity, and they were really pressuring Napoli throughout the whole match. I feel like they were constantly trying to, score a goal and trying to create opportunities for themselves and for their teammates as well. And I also feel like defensively, they looked more compact and united rather than throughout this whole season where the defense looked pretty stretched out. Now, even with that being said, after the 60th minute when Lewandowski scored, it did seem like Barcelona was lowering their intensity and they just weren't pressuring Napoli as they did before. They were giving Napoli too much of the ball and too much space, and Napoli ended up capitalizing off of it. And that's a huge mistake Barcelona have been making throughout the season, where they just think that they've already won the game even though they only scored one goal in the match. So it is something that Barcelona definitely have to improve on in general. Now, I know many people are blaming Inigo Martinez for the goal Osimhen scored against Barca, which allowed Napoli to equalize against Barca, and I understand it. It's very easy to blame Inigo Martinez because he's a veteran player. He was picked out to start ahead of Kubarse for his experience, and he made a mistake. His positioning was off. He should have known better. That being said, it's also the fault of the team as a whole because they dropped their intensity, as soon as they scored. And that's simply not okay. Barcelona has made multiple mistakes this season, but the biggest mistakes I've seen is one, communication. Their communication is poor. Sometimes they're not, communicating with one another of when to pass or where to pass. The other thing is decision making. Sometimes they don't know whether to pass or whether to score or whether to pass forwards or backwards, which is something they definitely have to work on. And another thing that Barcelona have been lacking is just mentality in general. They think just because they scored a goal means they've already won the match, even though there's still like 30 minutes left to the game. But I will say that I did see improvement against Napoli in terms of their intensity, their pressure that they brought on, and of course defensively, as I've already mentioned. I also feel like many players on the team have taken a step forward the last 2 weeks. You have players like Lewandowski, who is starting to score a lot more, which is great to see because he's had a rough season with not scoring as many goals. You have Araujo, who also had a pretty shaky few games this season, and I feel like he's finally returning to his best form. Koundé is growing in confidence as well, which is great to see. Now, you also have players returning from injuries. Now, obviously, Gavi and Balde are out for the rest of the season, but players like Rafinha and João Felix are returning. And that does leave like a positive note on the team in general, gives positive feelings throughout the whole team. The introduction of youngsters is also bringing a lot of positive light to the team. You have players like Lamine Yamal and Kubarse who have impressed many people. And, Lamine Yamal is only 16, Kubarse is only 17, and they've become starters in the squad already, which is insane. And I do feel like the combination of these injured players returning along with these youngsters just improving and gaining experience will help out Barcelona in the future and everything. Now let's talk about how Barcelona played today against Getafe, which was one of the best Barcelona games this season. They scored 4 goals and didn't concede, so they kept a clean sheet, which is great. I feel like it's been a while since I watched a Barca game without stressing out. I feel like a lot of the players did well, like Araujo, like Frankie, like Rafinha, which is great because it does well for their confidence in general. The biggest thing Barcelona did was passing with the purpose instead of passing just to pass. At times this season, it feels like the Barcelona players weren't really scanning the field. They were just trying to get rid of the ball as fast as they can rather than trying to come up with like the best possible like option. So it was nice to see today that they were constantly trying to look for like the forward run or trying to pass the ball forwards rather than backwards in order to make sure that Barcelona could get as many goals as they possibly could today. It's also important to know how they quickly changed the tactics up in order to score against Getafe. They noticed that Getafe had a high line, and it was Ter Stegen who noticed this first and introduced like these long passes in the final third area, which ended up working out, and that's how Barcelona was able to get their goals today. Now, I won't be going into that many specifics about certain players in this match, just because I already posted a match review on my TikTok, so be sure to go check that out. That being said, I feel like Frankie did a phenomenal job today, the way he controlled that midfield. He did scare me at first in the first half because he kept losing the ball for I don't know why, but I do think after that, as the game went on, he grew more confident. He broke lines with his passes, and defensively as well. When Barcelona needed him, he did everything he can to make sure the ball did not touch like any of the Getafe players' feet. Now, you also have players from today like Rafinha, who also had a great game. Obviously, he started ahead of Lamine Yamal today because Lamine Yamal was rested. He's 16 years old. He deserves rest. He's been playing a lot of games. You could sense that he was tired against Napoli and even against Celta Vigo. So it was nice to see Rafinha starting. I think Rafinha always works hard. I think he gets a lot of hate sometimes for no reason. I agree his decision making needs to be better. And today, even though he scored a goal today, he could have had a hat trick already in the first half if he just was better with the decisions he made on and off the ball. That being said, the way he spotted those runs and the runs he made, behind the Getafe defenders, it was incredible from him to know to do that. I also do want to bring up Kubarse, the youngster, the center back. He has shocked many Barca fans this season with his performances. He has so much confidence in him, which is really rare for a 17-year-old. And I feel like he does take leadership as well, which again, rare thing to see from a 17-year-old kid. In general, him defensively did well, had many clearances. I think he's doing better on duels, especially like in the air now even. And also passing wise, just he does his passes so smart, and the way he's like not even scared to like make that long pass, like he's willing to take on risks, and I do appreciate that from him. Moving past like individual players, I do still have another general note on the game against Getafe, and that being that the way Barcelona started off the second half, they looked shaky, they looked like they weren't concentrating, and Getafe almost capitalized off of that and scored. That being said, what I did like to see is that as soon as that happened, Barcelona got back into the match, they increased their intensity again, and their mentality was back up, which I did like to see, that even though they made a mistake, they were able to fix it immediately, which is a good step in the right direction. Now guys, I know this video is very brief and very general, and I understand it. The reasoning for it is simply because I already posted a match review on my TikTok, but as I make more YouTube videos, I promise I will get to more specifics on things, but I did want to already post my first video on YouTube and not keep you guys waiting on that. Anyways, guys, I will end the video here. Hopefully you guys liked it. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. And if you want to check out my socials, they're simply my name, liabinkin. I already mentioned my TikTok, but it's also my, Instagram and my Twitter as well, which I will also link down below. But yeah, be sure to leave a like on this video. And yeah, bye guys.